YNWA. First look at the sports stories in the morning's newspapers, and joining us are the Athletics' Carl Anker and Isan Khan from the Mail. Welcome along to you both. We'll hear from you shortly, but let's quickly run you through the back pages as we have them. Let's start off with the back page of the Eye. Injured Jacks in England squad for Ashes series. Yes, Will Jacks named as a spin bowling all-rounder in part of the batting unit, part of the bowling unit. And you can see the picture there. Ekitike, just as he scored for Liverpool, their winner against Southampton, and just before he took his shirt off, which got him sent off. Right, back page of the Mirror looks like this. Stars and gripes. US star Thomas admits that rowdy New York fans could give home team a rough ride if they are losing. Yes, the Ryder Cup just days away now. You can see that at the top, smart Alex fires for red. So Alexander Isak getting his first goal since his British transfer record move from Newcastle. And there's some interesting stories involving North London clubs on the right-hand side. We'll get into those. Back page of The Guardian looks like this. England picked 5 90-mile-an-hour bowlers for Ashes battle. But not Chris Woakes, as I mentioned before. And Dickie Bird lived for cricket and the game loved him back. Yes, plenty of warm tributes towards Dickie Bird, who has passed away at the age of 92. Back page of the Times, or the front page of the Times sports page is this. Dickie Bird again in that obituary there, 1933 to 2025. And also you can see on the right-hand side, related to the England squad, Pope ditched as vice-captain. Yes, Ollie Pope not with that position. Instead, it's gone to Harry Brook, who already captains the white ball cricket sides. Back page of The Sun looks like this. So you can see Alexander Isak with that goal celebration as he scored against Southampton. But you can see at the bottom there, Frank, we'd love to give Harry a perfect ending. And news of a potential release clause to buy back Harry Kane from Bayern Munich. Front page of the Telegraph Sports section. Yes, you can see Dickie Bird there when he was officiating 66 Test matches there. And you can see on the right-hand side, Brook takes a vice-captain role for Ashes as Pope axed. And finally, the Metro looks like this. Pure Mackel joy, a horrible abuse warning, but also we were talking a little bit about Dickie Bird there. Cricket warning, the great Dickie Bird there on the left-hand side. That's the back page of the Metro. All right, so let's start off with Liverpool, shall we? Just about getting through their Carabao Cup third round tie against Southampton at Anfield, doing so by beating them by 2-1. Let's have a look at the back page of the Eye, shall we? So another late goal, but unfortunately, Hugo Ekitike perhaps didn't know about the rules in terms of taking his shirt off. He had been booked before and then got booked a second time. In terms of just Liverpool and their season so far, though, Carl, I mean, you know, they're making a habit of this, aren't they? Scoring late, getting the win.
Absolutely. This is a Liverpool team that we know want to sign Mark Guehi on deadline day, but couldn't due to difficulties with deal sheets and whatnot. So they are perhaps with the defensive reinforcements they have. However, when you've got players like Hugo Ekitike to come off the bench for Alexander Isak, who started and scored in the first half, they are always going to have a puncher's chance of winning games. So the fun thing for a neutral is that they are good, but still not invulnerable. The good thing for Liverpool fans is that they are not yet fully settled and in fifth gear, and yet they're still blowing everyone away. And I suppose the less interesting thing, if you're a rival, is you're wondering, are they ever going to slip up?
Yes, I mean, this is it, isn't it? You know, they call it form of champions when you win like this without necessarily playing well or pulling up too many trees. But you're right to point out their, you know, prolific front line now, and you know, it promises to be so with Isak now off the mark. Let's have a look at the back page of the Mirror. You can see him at the top there. Smart Alex fires for Reds. Isan, I mean, we know that he's had a little bit of an injury. He's been away on international duty with Sweden. But how would you assess now his first few steps as a Liverpool player and finally getting that first goal?
Overall in the game today, he was fairly quiet, but the main thing is he's off the mark. I'll be absolutely delighted. Just to score, it doesn't matter the opposition. It's just getting off the mark. He has that big price tag of £125 million attached to his head. So from here, you can really kick on. And Liverpool deserve credit here in the way that they've slowly bedded him in. He's obviously not had a pre-season because had that issue, that long-running saga over the summer with going on strike, forcing his move away from Newcastle. So Liverpool have been careful here in how they've introduced him, embedded him in. Obviously, Atletico Madrid last week, they took him off in the second half. Here today, he scores, he's off the pitch at half time. So Liverpool deserve credit here in the way that they've handled this. And from here on in, hopefully, for his sake and Liverpool's sake, you can really kick on and start to go up further in levels in the games to come.
Let's just go back to the eye, and we mentioned Ekitike briefly there before. I mean, yes, a goal, and it was. I tell you what, the Federico Chiesa touch and then just laying it off to him, that was special. Easy goal for Ekitike, but how silly was it, Carl? You know, to get himself sent off, and now he will be suspended for the game against Crystal Palace at the weekend.
Absolutely, a suspension that will ruin many of fantasy Premier League managers' plans for the weekend. I quite enjoyed Jeremy Frimpong running up to Hugo Ekitike after the goal and going, "What on earth have you done here?" So Ekitike started the season very, very strongly. He is a phenomenal striker, and it makes a lot of sense that it wasn't just Liverpool were interested in him in this summer, but also I believe Chelsea were interested in him. And I think Manchester United had a little sniff before they realised he would be quite expensive. So this suspension opens up more space for Isak to get minutes into his legs and start and possibly even play longer than 45 minutes. But yeah, an unnecessary snafu for a Liverpool machine that seems to be just growing from strength to strength.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it is a significant bit of news, this, because obviously Crystal Palace have started the season well under Oliver Glasner. Let's go back to let's go to the Sun now and talk a little bit about Harry Kane. Thomas Frank, we'd love to give Harry a perfect ending because there's news that he could have a release clause that kicks into his Bayern Munich contract at the end of the season, that he could be signed for £56.7 million, Tom Barkley writes in his piece. Ihsan, the change of manager, I mean, here's the thing, I mean, you know, Thomas Frank has made it very clear he would like to see Harry Kane back at Spurs. Would Kane fit in a Thomas Frank side?
Of course, Thomas Frank would love Harry Kane back, but it'd be absolute madness for Kane to want to move back with the position he's in now. He's at Bayern Munich. He's scored, I think it's 95 goals in 102 appearances for the club. They've got the likes of Serge Gnabry, Diaz in attack. He's in a great place here to win real silverware. If he goes back to Spurs, that's not going to be likely anytime soon in terms of silverware, it looks like, compared to Bayern anyway. So, yes, from a romantic side, you could say he's 34 and ending his career there would have that romantic tale to it. But from a purely rational point of view, it'd make absolutely no sense in any way.
In terms of how far he is behind Alan Shearer's Premier League all-time goal-scoring record, 47 goals. You'd imagine if you're someone like Harry Kane, you could get that in 2 to 3 seasons. He's 32 years of age. How much of a pull do you think that would be, Carl, that individual motivation?
Oh, yeah, I think it's there. I do believe the two may have joked about it in the past, Shearer and Kane. Obviously, they've crossed paths more than once. But as has already been noted, Harry Kane's in a very good place at Bayern Munich. He's in a football team that are likely to win the Bundesliga, probably at a canter, and they are going to make a deep run into the Champions League places. This Tottenham Hotspur team is good, but also it's quite young. And I mean that in both senses of the word, in that they have a lot of young players, and also these young players are still bedding in together. So for Kane to swerve and come back, I think he might need a little bit more time and a little bit more guarantees that this Tottenham Hotspur team, particularly now Daniel Levy has left, that is going to be closer to winning big trophies and more accolades other than just the Premier League goal scoring record. Because also, and I feel I should always bring this up, Alan Shearer has also scored goals in the old Division 1. So it's not quite all Kane's
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I see the point you're making there, Carl. All right, let's get back to the Mirror. And we mentioned there were some interesting stories involving North London sides, but let's balance things up. We talked about Spurs, let's talk about Arsenal. And friend of the show, John Cross, has written a piece, the headline of which is Mick Goes on Attack. Mikel Arteta has laughed off accusations that he plays with the handbrake on and insisted his philosophy is the most attacking in English football. And quotes there, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, claiming that Arsenal meant safety first against Manchester City. What's your take on the story, Hassan?
So I was at the press conference today. In terms of his demeanour, he seemed completely baffled by the whole thing. He even said that he hadn't read any of it and he had to rely on the Arsenal media officer to relay him the comments that have been flying around about the handbrake and whatnot. I think it's undisputable that on the weekend against Man City on Sunday, that his team were cautious. Manchester City in parts, they were there for the taking. And if you look at the starting 11, starting a midfield three of Zubimendi, Merino and Rice, when you've got the likes of Eze and Martinelli obviously scored the equaliser in the end on the bench, it was a cautious approach and in many ways, from an Arsenal perspective, he probably will look back on that and learn from it. Because at the end of the day, it's these games where, when it comes to the end of the season, the points dropped here and there, they all matter in the end.
Carl, your thoughts on this? I mean, Mikel Arteta, it's funny because there's a few Premier League managers who, at the start of the season, have just bared their teeth a little bit or showed a little bit of combative form. You know, for example, we had Arne Slot saying, we don't time waste. Everyone else does. But, 3 minutes was right for the end of the Merseyside derby. And Mikel Arteta here just fighting his corner.
Yes, as it is right to be. As a journalist, it's always a little bit more interesting if the manager gives a little bit of pushback and space, makes for better copy. I would dispute the claim that Mikel Arteta plays the most attacking football in the Premier League, if not just because Ange Postecoglou was returned and we know how he likes to play football. So I watched that game against Manchester City and it felt like two managers taking a leaf or a page out of Jose Mourinho's book. And I mean that as a compliment for both of them. I think 1-1 was a fair result. This Arsenal team is good. They're very, very robust now, and they're going to be very, very hard to beat. However, considering the points dropped to Liverpool and now against Manchester City, their margin for error to win the league title is thin. I'm sure they can do it. I think when you have a player like Eze, you can come in for someone like Odegaard, and when you've got this situation now where Madueke's just been announced injured with a knee issue, and Saka can come straight in, and you've also got YNWA to come off, they've got options. And I think that options and resilience mean they will be there or thereabouts come May. But, I mean, winning the Premier League is hard. And it looks like this Arteta is building them to be a hard team so they can last the distance.
Yes, and it's certainly just when you mentioned before the defensive solidity, the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba and, of course, Christian Mosquera they signed. It seems like they really are shoring things up at the back. OK, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at more of the sports stories in the morning's newspapers, including this in the Metro. Pure Mackel joy. Yes, our Ryder Cup build-up continues, and we're back in a couple of minutes.